Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Thursday Flow. Now, I'd like to begin by asking you a simple question. How often do you find yourself saying, gee whiz, I hope things get better? I wish I could find the right job. I wish I had more confidence. I hope one day life just gets easier. Hope is beautiful. It keeps us moving. But what if we've been unknowingly placing everything we long for somewhere in the future? Today I'd like to share a lesson from Florence Scovel Shinn that challenged the way I think, and perhaps it might challenge you too. It centers around four very small words, and they are I am and I have. Now, for most of our lives, most of us have been taught, I'll believe it when I see it. And Florence turned that upside down. She believed that the invisible always came before the visible. So, in other words, before we see peace, we need to begin living from peace. Before we see abundance, we need to begin living with an attitude of abundance. Before we feel courageous, you guessed it, we need to begin acting as though courage is already within us. Now, that doesn't mean pretending everything is wonderful, far from it. It doesn't mean ignoring real problems. It simply means choosing not to let our current circumstances be the final word about who we are. Now, I can relate to this personally, but before I do, I want to share with you the analogy she used that really resonated with me, and perhaps it will with you too, helping you, like it did me, to better understand this whole scenario about manifesting. So think of it like ordering a meal in a fine restaurant. You've placed the order. You cannot see the food just yet because it takes time to cook and prepare. But you don't pace backwards and forwards anxiously awaiting for your meal, do you? You trust the process. You've placed your order, and now you know you must wait for a certain amount of time before it comes. So you sit at the table, you talk with your friends, you're relaxed, you sip your water or your wine. Why are you so relaxed and enjoying the company, the journey? Because you trust the process. You've placed the order, you know it's there in the kitchen, they're preparing your meal and it's going to come out. And so the divine source, the universe, God, is the ultimate kitchen. Your job during this waiting time is not to repeat your claim anxiously. I mean, once you've placed your order, you don't keep calling the waiter over and replacing it and checking that it's happening, do you? You've placed it, you've left, and then you leave it. You don't keep running into the kitchen to check on the chef, do you? No. Your job is to hold the state of the one who has already ordered. You are at peace. You are calm. You know what's going to happen. Your job is to say with a smile, I have ordered. I give thanks for what is coming. It is done. However, if you waver during this time and you think, oh my gosh, it's taking a bit long, I wonder, have they lost my order? You are essentially calling the restaurant and cancelling the order. So don't cancel your order. Stay at the table, knowing and trusting that your feast is coming. Now, there have been seasons of my life when everything seemed uncertain. After my marriage ended, I couldn't imagine what the future looked like. It was scary. Then on top of that came cancer. There were days when fear was much louder than faith. And if someone had said to me, just think positively, I think I would have bopped them on the head. It would not have helped. But over time, I have learnt something quite different. I discovered that while I couldn't always change my circumstances immediately, I could change the words I was speaking to myself. I could change my perspective. So instead of constantly saying, I wish I had my health back, I gradually learned, I began quietly saying, every day I am growing stronger and fitter. I have the energy for today's tasks. Not because I felt strong, but because I was learning to refocus on what health I did have, as opposed to what health I had lost. I could walk, I could still do so many things. It just took me much longer. And because eventually I realized that by continually saying those I am and I have statements and believing them to be true, like it was a done thing, there was no arguing about it. I was getting stronger and fitter. I can see that now. I am stronger and fitter. And that's how healing often begins, one day at a time. So perhaps that's what Florence was trying to teach us when she was saying, using the words, I have. The words I have are not about pretending. They're about recognizing what already exists. Maybe you don't have every answer. I certainly didn't. But perhaps you already have the courage deep inside you. Perhaps you already have the wisdom. Well, let's face it, you have successfully made it to this point in your life, so you do have wisdom. You already have resilience because you've bounced back. You already have people who care about you. And you already have experiences that have shaped your character. You already have far more than your fear wants you to believe. So there's another reason I love this idea. Our minds naturally focus on what's missing. Most of us have been conditioned, brought up to primarily notice what we don't have. The opportunity we missed, the relationship we've lost, the money we wish we had, the health we long for, the confidence we remember. But when we deliberately begin saying, I have, our attention shifts. Suddenly we notice things we were overlooking. I have learned valuable lessons. Oh my gosh, haven't I learned some valuable lessons? I have survived difficult days. Indeed, I have survived very difficult days. I have the skills to survive difficult days. I have people who love me. I am surrounded by people who love me. I have enjoyed yet another sunrise. I am blessed. I have another opportunity, and I have today. Those words don't magically erase problems, but they do change the way we walk into them. Something else has become very real for me recently. I've been spending time on the farm. More time on the farm, even in this cold weather. Mending fences, cutting firewood, working outdoors. And by the end of the day, I'm so tired that sometimes when I just sit for a few minutes in my chair, I notice I've fallen asleep. But do you know something? That kind of tired fills my heart. Because a while ago, I wasn't sure I'd ever have the strength to do those things again. Now I can, and I rejoice. But because not because everything is perfect, not because I'm cured, but because my mindset, my focus has changed, and I am seeing all that I do have, all that I am, and even more comes my way as a result of that change of focus. Sometimes abundance doesn't arrive as a winning lottery ticket. Sometimes we wish it would, but it doesn't always. Sometimes abundance looks like enough energy to mend another fence, to be out and about driving the tractor, enjoying the briskness of the fresh winter air. enough strength to stack another load of wood to keep me warm and cozy, enough health to enjoy another beautiful day. You know, I am blessed. Every morning I wake up and see another day, I say how blessed I am. I am blessed. I have another day in front of me. And those things matter. Those are gifts. Those are also reasons to say, I am, I have. So I'd like to leave you with a little exercise. And this is something that I'm now doing every night. It's a slight variation on what I was doing. So in your journal, write down 10 sentences beginning with the words I have, listing 10 physical or immediate truths. They can be simple and repeatable ones for the following night. I have breath. I have today. I have clean sheets, clean linen. I have a comfortable, cozy bed. I have a roof over my head. I have a lovely house. I have wisdom gained through experience. I have survived every difficult day I've ever faced. I have people who care about me. I have a warm, cozy house. I love my warm, cozy house in the wintertime. They are. So what that does is substantiate to your subconscious all the things that you do have. And then close with an I have that is not yet visible. Perhaps it could be something like, I have everything I need for the next step. Or I have peace growing within me. And the subconscious just grabs hold of that like it has all those other things that you have in place right at this very point in time and just builds on it. So as we finish today, I'd like you to remember this. Life will always show us reasons to focus on what's missing. But gratitude helps us notice what is already present. Florence Scovel Shinn wasn't asking us to ignore reality. She was inviting us. She was inviting us to see a deeper reality. One where courage already exists within us. Where hope becomes trust and faith. Where fear slowly gives way to peace. So this week, whenever you catch yourself saying, geez, I wish, I hope, pause for just a moment and ask yourself, well, what do I already have? And you might be surprised by the answer. So, folk, thank you for spending these few minutes with me today. Until next Thursday, keep taking one small step, thriving and shining, because that one small step is all it takes to begin again.